Charlie Kirk was assassinated in Utah today. It happened in broad daylight in front of his audience. His family was there. 2 children lost their father today, and a wife lost her husband. It's a ghoulish, senseless, despicable act of violence. And it's more proof that our country has been captured by a death cult. And it's a nightmare. Today was another, what felt like a tectonic shift in our absolutely deranged political discourse. And we've been sinking into hell. This nation feels like a revolving door of tragedy. And I have whiplash from yesterday's gruesome video of watching Arena being stabbed in the neck on a train. And then we're here today having to see this despicable act of violence on Charlie. It's just horrible. It's horrific. It seems like it's a high-level, sophisticated assassination. We still don't know much of anything. They had 2 suspects. Seems like those 2 suspects are already out. The first suspect, as I'm sure you've seen, who said stuff like, I think he was saying, "Shoot me, and I have the right to remain silent." To me, seems like that was a decoy. Could just be a crazy person caught up in it. I've seen video of another person, I believe on Fox, saying that first suspect is a crazy person. But it turns out that was not the shooter. However, in my opinion, it seems like that is some sort of decoy to trip up the authorities. But my goodness, this enemy hates your ideas. The enemy hates your free speech. The enemy hates your faith. And they hate you. But who is the enemy? It's impossible to know. It's easy to say, we know there's multiple enemies at war against America, against freedom, against God. It's been accelerating at an enormous clip. Every week it seems to get crazier and crazier. Of course, we could point to the deranged leftists who carry out a lot of this senseless violence. But sometimes it almost feels like that is diminishing just how evil it is, and that this political violence is part of a much bigger, well-funded, high-level plot to continue to overthrow this country. It feels like the 60s are repeating, in my opinion. My grandparents used to tell me all these stories about what it was like in the 60s in America, raising a family, while they were watching their president get shot in the head in Dallas, Texas, seeing Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, seeing wars. And it seems, it's not unique to just that decade, clearly. This is something that is, unfortunately, political violence that is an American tradition. And it's been going on since the beginning and well before America was founded. But it comes in waves, and while growing up, we see violence all the time. It's forced down our throats. On the media, it's in everything we read. It's all over the place. But there was a specific type of political violence in the 60s that we've all read about, that we've heard the stories about, and it feels like we're back at that spot after everything that's been going on, these brazen assassinations in public. It's another giant national scar to see someone in the political space who's clearly connected to the White House, who had a major platform, who helped Trump get elected, to see him assassinated is incredibly shocking. I'm 40, so in 8th grade I remember Columbine happening, and then I went to high school, and then 9/11 happened, and it's just constant violence. It seems like for our generation, that's what we've inherited, the people that are around our age, constantly seeing nothing but violence and how it's warped in the news, how it is then used against us, how it instills fear, and it's just downright disgusting. But I do believe that what they did to Charlie will only amplify his message. And, there's a lot that he said that is going to now reach more people. And whether or not you agreed with everything Charlie said, it doesn't matter. What matters is that, we're just praying for his family, honestly, right at this point. And then I just pray that they catch this person, and then it doesn't turn into another mess like Butler, which was hard to not think about when this happened today. But it's just pure evil. We're just surrounded by demons. And I'm thinking a lot about, kind of reliving, thinking about 8th grade, thinking about Columbine, thinking about all the wars that we've seen in this country, all the drone bombings, mass graves, thinking about the last 5 years, which have been, like I said earlier, a major part in this tectonic shift of politics. And we get COVID. They shut the world down. And there was like a brief moment, some of you might remember, at the very beginning of COVID, when everything was focused on COVID. And there was a very short conversation about how a lot of the really deranged leftism, Marxism that had been suffocating this country, it felt like it disappeared. And I think about that a lot because clearly it didn't. It came right back, and it came back with a vengeance. And we saw what happened just later that summer with the riots and the cities burning down and your major corporations donating to those arsonists and our politicians bending their knees to those just murderous psychopaths. I think of David Dorn getting shot in the head during one of those riots. Just a man who was helping to guard his friend's business, and how that was live streamed. And that was a huge turning point. I think for some of us, others just forgot about David, but we shouldn't. We think about these people who get wrapped up in this violence, and so that evil, it seemed like it went away, came right back. And look at this, look at the last 2 years, just thinking about what happened after COVID. They gave us J6. We talked about that last night a bunch. I have lots of thoughts on how that happened and who was involved, and who might have hijacked that movement to accelerate what appeared to the corporate press as a violent overthrowing of the government, which is ridiculous. But Butler happens. Multiple attempts on Trump's life. Mangione assassinating that gentleman in the streets of Manhattan. This year started day one. A Cybertruck blew up, and it was burning outside of a Trump Tower in Las Vegas. That same day, we saw a driver drive through a crowd in New Orleans. And everything we've covered on this show, so much deranged stuff. But hey, guys, I just want to thank everyone for joining us, talking about what happened today with Charlie Kirk. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're so glad you're here from IRL. Shout out to our friends over at Timcast, and just kind of trying to unspool the disaster of today. And there's no making sense of it. And, getting answers is going to be tough. We cover these senseless acts of violence quite a bit on this show this year in the ways that they connect to, a lot of the research I've done with crazy government programs and ways of viewing the JFK assassination, all this political violence that's started to spill over into the streets yet again, like in the 60s. But thank you guys for joining us. And but I was saying, just this year, the Cybertruck blowing up, Luigi Mangione, Idaho, we had a guy who he just shot up those firefighters. The politicians shot in Minnesota, assassinated. We have dead children in Minneapolis, and it just feels like it's out of control, And I don't know where we go. You know, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next. The FBI said they had suspects. Now they're out. But this kind of violence is something you think about when you decide to go to these events and speak publicly, because you know you are hated by a lot of people. You know, I've experienced my own small amount of death threats here at Timcast. You guys know how many swattings we've had. It was like 2 years ago. I think Tim said it was about 12 or 15, you know, and it just becomes this insane symptom of just talking about the news and the things you believe in. And it's just depraved. And what's also depraved is these people cheering for this violence, all this bloodlust. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen it already on Twitter. It's all over the place. I've been trying not to look at it, but it finds its way to me. My mother-in-law was walking to work in Manhattan, and a girl stopped in the street in front of her and started reading from her phone. And she said out loud, enthusiastically, "They shot Charlie Kirk." And then she said, "Thank God." That is a symptom of the completely ghoulish media apparatus brainwashing people into into making them believe that their political enemy is a caricature, and a violent one at that. They make everyone out to be a monster. And so it makes it okay for these psychopaths who have that type of media diet to then cheer for the violence. When I heard that from my mother-in-law, it made me think of where I was when they shot at Trump in Butler. And I was back home in New York, and an old friend, we were no longer friends anymore, but he happened to be at this family gathering we were at. The word broke out that Trump was shot at, and then immediately someone else said they missed and he's fine, to which this former friend of mine said, "Too bad." And the fact that people can feel comfortable saying that out loud is insane. It's insane. I wish death on no one. I think that is a very telling moment. And I'm sure a lot of you have experienced it. I've been hearing from a lot of people today. They see it on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. People who are happy to see violence. And, you know, there's polls out there, and I'm very skeptical of polls, but there are a lot of polls that people are pointing to today showing how many people on the left support that. And that is just reprehensible. But I just want everyone to say prayers for Charlie's family, for his 2 kids. It's just awful. I met Charlie a few times. He was very good to Timcast. I was with Tim and the crew the first time they flew us out to TPUSA. I was like 2022 or 2023. And it was quite the experience. You know, his audience, they're very engaged, and they were very good to us. And that first trip there was a big one for me, because through that is how I met Carrie Lake. And then I went to I sat in the courtroom for her trial for the ballots, which was a completely fraudulent trial, you know. But I was very glad to be able to sit in the courtroom with her and her people, and then the corporate press, and watch the corporate press completely lie about what we were seeing happening. Completely lie. They were catching people who were testifying in lies, you know, watching them completely lie about ballots, the custody of ballots, the size of the printed ballots, which seems to have been printed wrongly on purpose. But, you know, I'm grateful for that experience and to be able to see that, because it was great to see the courtroom. It wasn't great to see it, but it was very interesting to see the courtroom be so captured. It was run by ideologues, and they clearly hated Trump and anyone Trump related. And then on top of that, to get an eyewitness view of the corporate press lying, watching something happen in real life, and I watch them go outside and report on another dimension. And that's why we're in this space, because they're reporting on they're manufacturing a reality. It's completely insane. And But yeah, let's say a prayer for Charlie's family and all his friends. It's a major tragedy, totally insane. It feels unreal, honestly, totally unreal. And then on top of all that, and thinking about what I just said about the corporate press in the courtroom when I was in Phoenix, is just to remain vigilant of everything being reported on while this is unfolding, because you are under attack at all times, and maybe not physically, but certainly mentally. And there is that psychic warfare happening on you, on me, on everyone all the time right now, because they're trying to conquer your perception of reality. That's what that corporate press was doing just for the ballots, right? Which I know was completely deranged, but they couldn't let the people know that. And they know everyone tunes in to their little local TV stations, and they go to CNN, they go to NBC, and they think that they're the authority on truth, but they are the authority on lies, chaos, and death. And you have to distrust them. But also just be careful of anyone who's trying to manipulate you and your emotions in the aftermath of any of these tragedies. That's what always happens. How many lies did we already see today? Just they know that this is a heightened emotional time right now. The political landscape is just completely on fire. It has been. I mean, we watched Trump get shot at. We've watched all these things, and there's a ton of avenues to go down in terms of who's behind all this, who's funding this, deep state, uniparty, you name it. There's tons of theories. We don't know anything yet, and we know how the official narrative goes too. But what we do know is that this was a brazen, deranged assassination. These things shouldn't happen. And I do have whiplash from this. This just revolving door of tragedy. It's constant. But yeah, say some prayers. And other than that, welcome to the show, guys. This is Inverted World Live, and we are a call-in show. And if you guys want to call in, we'd love to hear from you. Anything goes. You can call in. We can talk about this stuff. I know there's a lot of people who'd like to get some stuff off their chest. We're here for that. You can also call in and talk about anything. Typically, we cover all the everything from MK Ultra to ghosts to alien abductions. Yesterday we had this UFO hearing. Today I was gearing up to talk about NASA's press conference today. They said they found life on Mars. But we do spend time talking about the seriousness of violence, what it means, who's behind it, what's their goal, and just trying to unspool all of that chaos. But thank you guys for tuning in. We're glad you're here. And of course, I'm joined by Brandon. Hey, man.
Hey, Shane. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to a very somber night. It's been a very long day here at the studios. I didn't know Charlie Kirk personally. I didn't get the chance to meet him, but I was surrounded by people today at work that did know him and had nothing but amazing stories to share about him. From what I hear, he was a very warm and accommodating person who was happy to talk to you about anything, regardless of whether you differed on opinion or not. I also know that he was a family man. I believe he had 2 children and a wife, and they are now left behind in the wake of this senseless tragedy. And the mood around here today has been a very, very weird one. It's been hard for a lot of people here. We're all trying to stick together and get through it, and just keep moving, because that's all we really can do as a community, as a nation, is keep moving. And hope that they find this guy. Right now, it's the whole situation is nuts. But it's like Shade said, this has been building for a while. We've seen it in our cities, in our churches, now our schools again. It doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon. But we're here to take your calls tonight and discuss whatever you guys want to discuss, like Shane said. And we're gonna be with you to the end of the night. And at midnight tonight, obviously, it's tomorrow, September 11th, obviously, another very somber day in this nation for a lot of reasons that don't need to be explained. So, but we're going to hang with you, and we'll get into some stuff. Shane, did you have anything you wanted to get into before we go to phones?
I did want to say, thinking about Charlie, thinking about Turning Point USA, thinking about the word turning, thinking about, made me think about the Strauss-Howe generational theory. I'm sure a bunch of you guys know about that already, but it just seems like something we should just briefly go over. I don't know it so well. There's people who know much more about this, and but I couldn't help but think of that theory today while thinking of Charlie and Turning Point. For those who don't know, I'm just going to read a little bit about it. The Strauss-Howe generational theory is a psychohistorical theory developed by William Strauss and Neil Howe, first outlined in their 1991 book, Generations, The History of America's Future, 1854 to 2069. The theory posits that American history unfolds in recurring cycles of approximately 80 to 100 years, each divided into 4 turnings or seasons: high, awakening, unraveling, and crisis. Each generation is assigned a specific archetype: prophet, nomad, hero, or artist. And that repeats in a fixed pattern, according to the theory, and it influences societal events and creating a cyclical pattern of social and political change. And some of those key concepts, for those who don't know, there's the generational archetypes. Each generation is characterized by a specific archetype and repeats in fixed sequence. So that would be prophet, meaning idealistic, values-driven, and focused on spiritual renewal. And then nomad, pragmatic, individualistic, and focused on self-actualization. Hero, civic-minded, community-oriented, and focused on collective action. And artist, adaptive, sensitive, and focused on cultural and social change. And when it comes to the 4 turnings, these are cyclical periods that define the social and political landscape. High, a period of strong institutions, economic prosperity, and social conformity. Awakening, a time of spiritual and cultural renewal, challenging the status quo. Unraveling, a period of social fragmentation and individualism with weakened institutions. Crisis, a time of major societal upheaval and war, leading to a new social order. So, kind of sounds familiar, right? It does feel like when I'm talking about the 1960s repeating itself, that's also why I was thinking about these turnings, because it's felt like we've been building up to a type of chaos that we haven't really experienced in this country in a while. I mean, there's been moments of insane chaos, but I'm talking sustained ages of chaos, years of chaos. And you could argue, and I might argue that honestly, there has been that chaos, but we haven't, as a society, accepted that it's happening. Because like something I say on the show a lot is how this government, no matter who's in charge, is satanic. And they are always at war with you. Always. Look at all the things we've covered in the show over the years that they've done, over the decades that they've done to people, to American citizens. Experimenting on you with drugs, dosing you with acid, working on mind control. The things they put in your food, the things they put in your water, the things that come out of the sky, the undeclared wars. It's just nonstop chaos. But it feels like for a while it was happening, almost like a serial killer would happen in the shadows. You know bad things are happening, but it's like shadows are operating and you don't even know how to catch this ghoul. But a lot of the stuff we've been experiencing lately, it seems like a lot of it has come from those dark shadows in elite circles, being funded by who knows what. I like to call them this ancient strain of evil. So like when it recedes or it appears to recede, it's just collecting power, and it comes back and it fights us, and we have to remain vigilant because they want to conquer you, reality, your children. They want to replace your faith. They want to replace your family. They want to make the government your mom and dad. They want to make the government your God. And that has been a slow erosion against Americans for decades. But a lot of those shadows have been at least looked at in the sunlight the past few years when all of these lies have been exposed. You know, although we don't have answers to a lot of these things, we understand now, a lot more of us understand now, that there is a war against us. I mean, without a doubt. You can't deny it. Look what they did during lockdowns. They forced you to do stuff if you wanted to keep your job. Insane. You know, I consider that in part a genocide. What I saw in New York, I saw my own governor, Cuomo, put sick people in nursing homes, and at least 15,000 people died in just New York. And he wasn't the only governor to do that. We've seen staged events. We saw the Whitmer Fednapping. We've had Radix on the show, and she's done a documentary on what happened with Whitmer and how the feds entrapped these guys to pull off a kidnapping that the government was planning because they want their enemy, which is right now the MAGA aligned folks. They want to suppress them. So they need to make them out to be the monsters that their friends in the media industrial complex are helping to create that caricature with. So when they pull off something like a Whitmer kidnapping, they didn't really pull it off, but they tried. And if you go and read those stories, it's insane. They were planning on, there was helicopters involved. They were going to take her to an island. They were willing to blow people up. And that might make you think of Operation Northwoods, which is when, speaking of JFK, when the Joint Chiefs of Staff went to JFK and said, hey, we want to really, basically, I'm paraphrasing, but we want to start this war with Cuba. How about we kill our own citizens? What do you say, President? And he fired them. He fired General Lemnitzer, the main guy. And when you know that the government is at least brainstorming these things in these violent think tanks behind the scenes with our tax dollars, it's hard not to realize that they are totally fine with sacrificing the innocent to maintain power. And I really do think this is not just a left-right thing. I think it's a deep establishment uniparty monster that we're up against. That said, we also know there are lunatics who are brainwashed by the media and the politicians and maybe the drugs they're on, and the lack of family, the system constantly failing everyone that go out and do harm. But what I'm coming out with today, just, you know, I don't know anything, but what we saw today appears to be something a little more high level than just a lunatic. We'll see, you know, it could be, but that decoy, if it was a decoy, that's really scary stuff. And I just hope they catch it, right?
The whole thing is, what we know is the shooter was clad in all black on a black rooftop. Well hidden, but spotted early, although the people that spotted him, unfortunately, didn't know what was going on, and it wasn't reported. He was positioned on a roof 200 meters-ish or plus away, give or take. Apparently used a rifle to do this with. We don't know, 5.56, 223. I'm assuming something along those lines. Fired a single shot, which also happened to be during someone questioning him about trans shooting. Don't know if that was related or not. Don't want to speculate, but that was also an interesting take. And managed to get away while also having a possible decoy in place. I mean, these are the signs of someone who had a plan. Certainly
a plan. I mean, this is certainly a plan. If we're correct in that being a decoy, maybe it was just coincidence. But when I found out that that guy was not the shooter, it was really hard not to think that that guy was involved.
Yeah.
To help the actual shooter get away. You know, and like thinking about Butler, we've covered it extensively on this show. We went live from this room right after that happened. And already at that point, it was hard to believe anything that they were trying to tell us in the news. It was so ridiculous. And then as the days went on, the weeks went on, it got weirder and weirder. The shooter made no sense. The incompetence made no sense. And like I argued then, Because a lot of people would say it was just incompetence that led to that. And I think that's just a part of it. I think evil uses that incompetence as like a curtain to hide behind to do it. And that is the incompetence allows it to happen. And the incompetence is part of the plan. This erosion of any structure and security when it comes to the president, that doesn't just happen. That's insane. The guy was flying a drone above Butler before it happened. And why didn't they have drones looking for that earlier? Like no one had that answer. And then when we found out that they cremated Thomas Matthew Crooks, when we found out that they power washed the blood off the roof too soon, when we found out that there was like no silverware in his house, when we found out he learned to shoot at the same shooting range as Homeland Security, it's just, you know, this really, this thought of like this political violence and who's behind it and why it's happening and why it's ramping up, it really started getting hitting home with me when it was, I think in February of 2023, that deranged guy held up his father's severed head on a YouTube channel live stream. And there was a lot of people, I was one of them, being like, is it even real? Is the head even real? It was in a bag. And it looked horrific. But unfortunately, you have to ask these questions. And it's unfortunate. But he was saying that was part of his political uprising he was doing. Was he just a sick, psychotic person working alone? Was he being funded by someone? Was there someone whispering in his ear? You know, it's just, we can't not discount anything yet when it comes to anything political, because they always want to use it against you. There's always something else happening. And if it wasn't orchestrated by some higher level or some big funder, someone else will come in with power and take advantage of it. They always say it. We got to take advantage of a crisis. I've heard it on both sides. You know, it's always happened. Look at the Patriot Act. Look after 9/11. Everyone just accepted the Patriot Act. Not everyone. It seemed like a bad idea then, and I was young. But that's what happens. They take these crises and they find a way to then make it feel like they're going to keep you safer while figuring out how to keep destroying you more and more, just keeping you alive so they can enslave you in this country through all their alphabet agencies, through the IRS, through the FDA, through the DEA, the ATF. You know the deal. But yeah, if we got callers, I'd love to go to callers. You guys, again, for those who are just joining us, we have our phone lines open. We're here till midnight. We don't have to talk about this, but if you do, we're here and willing to talk about it. But if you have some other crazy story that you want to share with us, that's also totally fine. But yeah, if we got callers, Brandon, let's do it.
All right. Yeah, we got about 14 people waiting to get in here.
All right. So I'd like to try to get to a lot tonight. So if we can try to keep the calls short. I mean, I can be bad at it. So my apologies beforehand, because sometimes I just get carried away and I like to hear these stories. But this is just one of those days. I'd like to get to as many people as possible. And I see some super chats here. We should read those really quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sovereign Fish. It honestly feels, thank you, by the way, for sending that in. We appreciate it. Thank you for joining us. It honestly feels like a last grasp at power from the dying deep state. Several extremely high-profile culture war issues in a very short time span, trying to create chaos and wrestle power back. Absolutely. April, thank you so much for that, for joining us. Thank you for the chat. You said, God bless you. And I saw, I think April might have been you as well, another super chat, and it's disappeared. Let me see if I can find it if it was you. Yeah. You said, my husband worked for a major railroad and they pressured the jab and denied religious exemptions. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. It's insane how many people have to go through that. I was in New York my whole life, and then through COVID, and then left for West Virginia afterwards to a much freer state. But it was so strange to see New York in like 2018, 2019 get rid of religious exemptions. And even at that point, I'm like, why? Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? And Maybe they knew, maybe they didn't, but boy, did that work out in their favor in just a year or two time. Totally insane what they did. And we'll never forget it. We have not recovered. Like, there's no going back to normal after lockdowns. That was a major generational scar, major generational shift in everyone and how we view everything. A lot of people realized that we were under attack and that the people who pretend to want the best for you actually want you dead. And it's awful. But on that note, let's take some calls.
All right. So this is, I'm just going to be grabbing people randomly here, guys. There's like 18 people in here now.
Oh, I should say real quick, I see some of you guys asking, I didn't say this. The link to call in is pinned in the chat on Rumble and YouTube. You can just click that, call in. It's Zoom. It's audio only on our side. And so we'd love to hear from you.
All right. So, again, like I said, I'm just going to be randomly grabbing people. So if we can't get to you, I'm sorry. We only got about an hour and a half to get to as many people as we can. So let's go to Dakota. Did you grow 4 inches? Why are you so
I do see that.
What is happening
I don't
over
know.
there? I'm going to have to bring you down. You're way too tall over there.
It's weird. I grew. I'm wearing my big boots.
Oh, my God. Dakota, you're on the show. Can you hear us? I got no mute here. Mike is live.
For those new ones joining us, sometimes it does take just a little bit for the callers to join. The caller has to go through some sort of portal, it appears, to make it onto the show.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Hey, how's it going?
Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, man? Long time listener. I've watched you guys since the first episode.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude, I wanted to talk about how crazy this stuff with Charlie Kirk was, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's unbelievable.
what an absolute icon. I mean, it could literally not have happened to a better person. And I don't know. I've been saying for a long time, and I know like Tim's been saying, and you guys have all been saying that like this is the point for, civil war. Like, do you guys see the same escalation?
I think we've been at civil war for a while.
Yeah.
Tim mentioned it earlier that this is, when he says war, this is what that looks like, not soldiers marching into battle in a line with a fife and drum. This is it's gonna be fought urban. It's gonna be fought in your schools, in your churches, at your homes, your backyards, in your streets, in your cities, and that's what we've been seeing for a while now.
Yeah, and war is always shape-shifting. A lot of people think of war the way we studied it growing up, trenches or Civil War, World War II, Vietnam. But the idea of war has shifted into so much psychological warfare, and then on top of that, these pockets of violence. And we saw so much of that pop off in the summer of 2020, when it was like we were being beaten over the head with all the violence, and then being told to that our eyes were actually deceiving us. What we were seeing on TV was actually peaceful.
Don't move your lying eyes.
Right. I mean, we are in the Orwellian world. They want you to be dumb and believe what they say. I mean, remember, what's her name? Jacinda from New Zealand, when she said, don't believe anyone but us. We're the authority and truth. I'm paraphrasing. Whatever she said was even worse, but,
Right.
Clearly not true. But, I was thinking a lot during COVID that, the atom bomb, the new version, the new idea of an atom bomb was COVID. It was this almost invisible imaginary thing that they dropped on everyone. Like they made a little
straight
invisible bomb.
psychological warfare.
Yes.
And they tried to see how much power they could pull from
Yep.
our society.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they use that as their, catalyst. Yep.
And so, I mean, what happened today is like this culmination of the last 5 years, because thankfully, I mean, there's so many different people in the media world, in the independent media world. Everyone's got different points of view. It's been pretty fractured the last 2 years. And I think, the people on the right who are conservatives or maybe libertarians, Republicans, they try to flesh out real debates, and they don't agree on everything. They're not a monolith. Although I think there are factions within the right here and there that are monolithic, the left is pretty much a monolith, and they move in tandem. But we saw how important the independent media space was during COVID, because thanks to the democratizing of podcasts and Substack, people were finding places to get other information that was being suppressed or censored, blocked on all the major platforms. And that was then the beginning of what we saw the evolution of with the 2024 campaign, where Trump and his administration, would-be administration, the ones that we have now, they knew to use the podcasts to help get elected, because the people were tuning in more to that.
And the Conservative Party basically did what the Democrats did for Obama. Like, when how Obama basically, he used Facebook and those
Yes.
early social media platforms, and
Yep.
that was part of how he ended up getting elected. And the conservatives kind of flipped it around on him, and they really didn't like that.
Yeah.
Oh
no, of course not.
So they had to censor him.
Because the right is pretty awful at a lot of things. And but they did
networking.
I mean, just culture, art. I mean, a lot of things. And they did it.
But morals and values.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, and Charlie was great at speaking about his faith, spreading the gospel, and I always appreciated that. And that is, I just can't stop thinking about his family.
He's a hero. I know. I literally, I'm a grown ass man. Sorry, I didn't mean to swear, but
That's all right.
I'm a grown man, and I'm not gonna lie. I probably bawled for an hour and a half about this today. I mean, the type of person he was, and the type of Christian he was, is just I guess if you're going to pick a target, that's a good one, right? Somebody who really brought people together and really rallied, the people who needed to be brought into the circle,
Right. Well, it's like what I heard.
Was that guy.
I heard Phil on IRL tonight say that, Charlie was effective. And, there were certainly many, there's a lot of infighting in the right on Twitter and all this stuff, and everything going on with Israel. And these are good fights to have. I mean, we're having real policy fights. I mean, just the other day or just a week or two ago, we were talking about the flag burning, talking about what the free speech means. These are very important fights, debates to have. And I like hearing those debates. And he was effective. And he helped, going to colleges and talking to people. Look, I was a professor. Colleges are lost. I don't have any desire to go back to a college campus after my time there.
My girlfriend's mom, she was a middle school teacher, and she retired 5 years early because she's like, I can't deal with it anymore. Yep. These they won't do anything if a kid could go up and punch a teacher, and they're just they'll get away with it. They don't.
Campuses, colleges have become boot camps for violence. I kept hearing all this crazy stuff. I remember I had a kid look at me first day of class, and I extended my grace to everyone. I didn't care if they had pink hair. I didn't care if they were if they had the flag on their backpack. I was like, I'm here to teach them. I'm not bringing my politics into the classroom. We're going to talk about ideas. We're going to talk about how to write stories, and that's that. And I'm going to try to just do my best. I'm going to be me and do my best. And on first day in class was this, the typical, everyone's going to introduce themselves. And this one chick, this white girl who grew up in a cul-de-sac, and she looked like just this pasty little ghoul. And she looked at me in front of the whole class and goes, I will never learn anything from a white man. And I'm like, I didn't even say it. I just let it roll off. I'm like, I'm not going to get into it in class. These are an 18-year-old girl, whatever. But inside my head, I'm like, I can't believe she feels comfortable saying this out loud. And she feels comfortable saying out loud because she expects most of the classroom to agree with her, and most of the other professors in that school, which is obviously the case. Although in another class that I was teaching, 2015, it was leading up to the election, Everyone hated Trump. Clearly, he was a Nazi. He was a white nationalist. All these bad words. And I had this white kid. I have to say white kid because it's hilarious how this plays out. This white kid who hated Trump said he was literally Hitler. And he thought he was like beating his chest. Like everyone's on board with me. And I had, it was like a class of 15 and there was 2 black girls and a Mexican chick. And they turned out to be totally pro-Trump. And when they came out and said that, this dude who was anti-Trump, you could see his brain explode. Like it was like, how is that? Because then it's revealed that he's actually the racist one because he's assuming that anyone who's black or anyone who's Mexican is immediately a monolith and they must all vote a certain way and they think like him. But it was a great moment. So I just want to say that like not everyone at a college is totally lost. There were good people, but man,
yeah, absolutely.
It was a total freak show.
I mean, it basically is turned into like a boot camp, you know?
Yes.
Like you said. And I mean, like, where do we go from here? Right. Like, I don't know. I think we're in a very dangerous spot right now.
We are in a very dangerous spot.
Yeah.
We are in a very
I'm really
spot.
worried. I mean, I've always been prepping and, you know, getting ready. And this just seems like it. I mean, this is like our Martin Luther King Jr. You know what I mean?
It's going to be turned into many different things. And by tomorrow, we'll have this almost like a cubist effect of every political pundit, every talking head, every writer, every tweeter will have something different to say, positive and negative, and we'll see who uses it for what purpose. You know, just like they did with Irina yesterday, just like they did with the dead kids in Minneapolis. You know, that's the pattern. What I fear is the bloodlust will now spill over from all sides, and you know, in terms of the idea of war, what that looks like. Should that happen, it will be these pockets of violence in smaller areas and against civilians, like what we saw during COVID lockdowns, the riots, like when they were hunting down people in the street, like what we've been seeing in cities. It could be political. It could just be hatred. It's very possible. It's very possible. And then it's going to be a real debate over what kind of power does this administration show. And it will be kind of the extension of a debate that's we've been having on the right about death penalty, about martial law, about surveillance state, about pre-crime. I imagine that will be happening quite soon. And I'm opposed to a lot of that stuff, but I think there's going to have to be a real show of force, and we have to make sure these people don't do this. They feel like they can't be doing this. But I also am fairly confident that these people are so psychotic that nothing's going to stop them. It's almost like thinking of a suicide bomber wearing a suicide vest. Like they're willing to sacrifice themselves for what they think of as their religion. Like their false god is their politics. And
right.
That's what's scary
about is because they martyred Charlie, and now like what Tim was talking about earlier is that they basically, you know, all these people are now like, oh, it's time, you know, like
Right.
Everybody start taking people out. I mean, that's what the left has been calling for now today. I mean, you're seeing it all over Twitter. You know, these leftists just saying, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Gates open, let's go. Like,
I mean, look how much they celebrated Mangione. You know, look how much they celebrated Fauci. One of them, Fauci, in my mind, is a mass murderer, and Mangione shouldn't be celebrated at all. And we've seen high-level people celebrate him: journalists, comedians, you name it, politicians, and people online. It's totally insane. But hey, man, I appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us. We're gonna get to another caller now.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you guys so much, and I appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
God bless Charlie.
Thank you. God bless him. All right, let's do it.
All right. So thanks everybody for hanging out. Rumble and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, share the show. Chats are going nuts. There's a lot happening, a lot to talk about. And
I'm like checking for updates. You know, how do they not have this guy?
I've got several theories that I'm not going to discuss right now. But that really is the question. How is this guy not captured? and it just screams professional job to me. So I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm reluctant to share anything because it's so much. And we're in, that's why I always say Alex Jones, one of the best names for a show ever, InfoWars, because this is the perfect example. We're constantly in informational war, and they're trying to use all types of false information to scare you, to make you, to throw you off the trail, to subdue you, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking all this. You guys, I don't want to share certain things because it's so early yet. But if you want to go look at what I'm looking at Candace Owens retweeting certain things, and man, thinking about Candace right now and her and Charlie, it's freaking awful.
Yep. And yeah, we don't want to speculate on anything. I want to wait for the facts to come out. Naturally, the last that we had heard, a second shooter was apprehended, but we've also seen that he has been stated as not being the shooter,
Yep.
even if he is still in custody. So that's
Yep.
2 people that were supposedly captured for this crime.
Bizarre, dude. It's bizarre.
And
it's bizarre.
yeah, turned out not to be the shooter.
And there was also a school shooting that happened right after this. I don't
Colorado?
yeah.
I'm seeing stuff
Yeah.
about that now too.
I mean, it is just sustained chaos, which is how a lot of really bad actors are going to move in to further the collapse of this country. And we really can't let that happen. We cannot let that happen. You know, a lot of us have kids thinking about their futures, thinking about their safety. It's awful. But we should get to another caller. Let's do it.
Yeah. So again, thanks to all our callers too. There are way too many of you guys in here right now for me to get to. We got about 25 callers to try to get to in the next hour or so. We're going to try to get it to as many of you as we can. And again, this is all just going to be random order. So
yeah, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for calling in.
Let's go to Keith Callender. Keith, you're on the show. If you can unmute your mic.
Hey.
Hey there.
So, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. Hey, real quick.
Yeah, mute the feed if you can.
Yeah, I did. So, I wanted to call in because I wanted to share an observation that I've had for like the last month or so.
Okay.
And I didn't know why it was relevant until maybe possibly it was relevant today. I don't know. Actually, it could be just a stretch, but my brother and I drive FedEx trucks, and he and one of his drivers got locked on the University of Arkansas campus because of a shooting hoax. And then what I noticed was all these shooting hoaxes were happening all over the country. They were like Kansas had 3 in one day, North Carolina had one, Arkansas had one. But when I was watching it, the officials in those areas, they were talking about how they were being like overwhelmed with like 300 phone calls, about these shooting hoaxes. And I don't know if you're familiar with the term like stress testing a system. You guys understand that?
Yeah. Yeah. You see how it operates to know how to infiltrate it.
Yeah. And that was going on for like the last month or so. I've been seeing all these shooting hoaxes all over the country at these colleges. And it almost seems like it was done to stress test the system to see like what the average response time would be and what they could get away with.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild. And I wouldn't put it past them. You know, it's how I was feeling, and I'm sure a lot of us here were feeling during the swattings that we were getting at Timcast. The concern was you unfortunately have to take everyone seriously, because it was like at some point, when you stop taking it seriously is when they move in, if it were to happen. It was a crazy time.
For sure. And like, I actually have asked my pastor this from time to time, but like, to me anymore, with like, especially with the most recent trans shooters, like Manifesto, like how much of this is demonic possession or oppression? And like, the modern world looks at it like it's ridiculous because they don't look at the world as a supernatural thing that it is,
Mm-hmm. It's hard to say, because I look at it a few different ways. Like this last one with the Catholic Church, I watched all the videos with the manifesto and the guns and all the writing, and it's like, okay, maybe this is just a psychotic person, obviously sick, but then it's also, we've done a lot of reporting on the show about accelerationism, and there's other mass shooters who are accelerationists, and they kind of hide underneath the guise of being just satanic or just trans, and really their goal is murder and chaos, and then accelerating like a collapse of society by pitting everyone against each other. So a good example of that would be in New Zealand at the Christchurch shooting, where the shooter's manifesto referenced multiple people on both sides of the aisle. And so it's like the media couldn't just pin it on one person, or they could, and they could just ignore one or the other, but it makes things way stranger and way crazier and makes more fighting. I forget who he mentioned on both sides, but that's what I was thinking with this most recent one.
Yeah, they do that. It's like intentional chaos. Like they'll intentionally sprinkle in ideologies from both sides to cause more chaos.
Yep.
Because the chaos is the intent. Like like I don't think they do these bad things obviously because they want to do them, but the chaos is the intent of most of the time.
Like they are bloodthirsty and they're maniacs, and in my opinion, they're demons. They're demon possessed, but it's not just the snuffing out of innocent life. It's also like this after effect that they get to produce by sowing chaos across the internet. And that was certainly the case with that last trans shooter. If you go look at everything that person wrote on all their guns, it was all over the place. And then it allowed every different type of media outlet with every certain type of political bias to pick and choose what they wanted to report on from the writings. Because you can go down any rabbit hole. Other mass shooters, conspiracy theories, references to all things. So it's crazy, dude.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I my only concern is Tim was talking about not having live events anymore, and I think that's smart, but they're Ian was saying, there's got to be some different strategy to get messaging out. You can't stop talking, but something's got to be different,
Well, no, and he didn't want to do that either, which is why he took the stage in front of everyone today, around 4 or 5 o'clock. I was here with him right before he went on, and he was in tears upstairs. I went to check on him, and he had just found out basically that Charlie had passed at that point. We were getting the confirmations, and he said I'm going to go live. And while he was live, he talked about the exact same thing, not being silenced. He was questioning going on at all, or saying anything at all, but he wanted to speak to the kind of person that Charlie was. And we were all hanging around to console our friend who had lost one of his friends. And that's been real for all of us today. So it's definitely been pretty screwed up, to say the least.
Yeah, man. Well, we really appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us and those insights. And hope you have an okay night, man.
Yeah, you guys have a blessed evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
While you get up another caller, Brandon, I'm just going to say thank you to Men Walk Away on Rumble. Thank you for that rant, the Rumble rant. The devil is a Democrat. He certainly likes to play on that side of the aisle. But I will say, I think the devil is capable of going all across the aisle. Look how many evil people are in the Republican Party, too. But right now, it feels like the left is completely infiltrated by Satan. And then thank you to Mother Lovebone on YouTube for the chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You said, I'm at a uni across town from UVU. I had several students at the event. We were all baffled and angry today. But I see how many young people Charlie affected. That's the one good I see. Absolutely. Thank you for that. What else we got? But yeah, we should do another caller.
Now let's go back up the list. Let's go to Ryphone. This is a different kind of iPhone caller, I think.
Hey guys.
Hey man, what's
up?
How's it going, fellas?
It's
a really, really bad night.
It's dark. This is a dark, dark day. And yesterday was dark. Yesterday was so dark. It's like we have both these images now in our head, unfortunately, of what happened to both, Irina and then Charlie, back to back. And it's just nonstop. It's just horrific.
Shane, I just want to thank you for what you do, man. You too, Brando. You guys give us an opportunity to connect some dots, and tonight I'm going to try to connect some dots tonight.
All right. Let's
And
hear it. Thank you.
I know I'm not the only one thinking it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it's the graphene in the shot, man. You know what I mean?
What are you trying to say?
MK Ultra's to 5.0.
Yeah. I mean,
The guy yesterday, I'm sorry, I'm
no, go
a
for
little
it.
nervous.
No, it's all good.
But like the guy on the the Charlotte stabber, no
Yes.
emotion,
Mhm.
just stood up and stabbed Irina.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. This is the keys are fitting into place. Like, if you follow like the rabbit hole, like I would say the rabbit hole,
Mm-hmm.
but like these people have no emotion. They show no emotion at all. It's like the sickest a mind virus.
Yeah, it's like they're like NPC assassins, and I can't help but also think of MK Ultra through all these things, just because how much has gone into that program over the years and how we've seen it evolve, despite them saying they finished it. But for anyone who's not privy to the MK Ultra stuff, I'm sure most of you guys are. 2 good books to read if you haven't read them already. Chaos by Tom O'Neill. Great book. He's been on the show before, way early on. And I'm forgetting the author's name of this other book, but it's The Poisoner in Chief. And I will say that was written by like a New York Times guy. So, some things in there I'm a little like skeptical of, but it does give you a really good foundation of the history of MK Ultra, of creating these Manchurian candidates, of brainwashing, how it started, how it literally started with a Jewish scientist in Brooklyn and a Nazi that we hired, a Nazi that we hired after Operation
Who's that?
Paperclip.
Bohm?
I'm forgetting their name. I'm so bad with names. I'm forgetting
Hans
names.
Peter Bohm?
I forget. It's like the first chapter of Poisoner in Chief. It talks about the names of them and follows them throughout all the programs, how they got Eli Lilly. The government got Eli Lilly to make all the acid to go into their MK Ultra program, all the assassination attempts and assassinations.
Like a Sirhan 2.0.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff's crazy. And guys, also go up and look up Jolly West, his connections to a lot of MK Ultra stuff, a very, very, very gruesome murder that people connect to Jolly West and one of his patients, where the soldier killed a little girl and then didn't remember anything. It's an insane story. That's in the book Chaos, but you can go look it up online. And Jolly West was also a part of, I'm like, my brain is so scattered right now. But who shot Lee Harvey Oswald? Jack Ruby. Jack Ruby. So after Ruby shot Oswald, Jolly West, this guy who was a part of the MK Ultra program, allegedly visited Ruby in the hospital. And so the reporting goes, Ruby was a different person after whatever happened in their visit. My interpretation, I like to look at it, knowing what Jolly West was doing with MK Ultra, is that it was sort of like a scarecrow from Batman scenario, where he goes in with some fear potion, which is what he was literally like working on, this like brainwashing stuff, and just wiped Ruby. They said he went crazy after that. It's really, really wild stuff. And Jolly West was kind of like in the periphery of a lot of really weird events. So I highly recommend all that stuff. I can't help but think about MK Ultra with a lot of these events. And it doesn't mean that they're all like direct descendants of the program, because I also believe that MK Ultra has gone so big right now that people are MK Ultraing themselves in a way through their media, through all that stuff online, that it's like the MK Ultra dream is to be like, now we can just sit back and they'll make themselves go crazy and we'll drive them to violence and we'll turn off their it's the algorithm, it's all these things, and it desensitizes them. And it's like, there's those people now who are on the other side of that, but like on the left, we'll say, who are cheering for the violence. But then there's the people who, wherever they're coming from, whatever shadows they're crawling out of, that have been completely desensitized and are moved to violence. And it's like, I think people used to say a lot of these types of murders happen for infamy. They want to be remembered. I think we've moved past that type of assassination or murdering. Certainly still, but it seems like a lot of the recent political violence has been purely for chaos, ideologically based, perhaps, although it could have just been a disguise that it's ideological.
Ideology is very, I think, plays a very big part.
Yep.
This is another angle that I looked at today. Like, if you're gonna publicly execute one of the leading male straight Christian leaders, like faith leaders in our country right now,
Yep.
on TV in front of everybody, like, you don't care, that's saying something. That's a ballsy move. That's a ballsy move.
Mm-hmm.
If it had anything foreign to do with anything foreign or anything religious,
Yep.
whether it be
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say Islam, or whatever, however you want to call it, or
You could say
radical Islam.
You could say all types. You could say Islam.
Whoever-
you could say Israel.
whoever-
you could say
whoever it might
people
be.
in our government. You could say just
Our own DARPA.
alone.
Like, listen, man.
Yep.
Like, I have so many angles, like, are in my head. Like, these, I have so much shit that fits in my head. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. There's so much stuff that you could fit into this day right now today. It's the day before 9/11, right?
I know.
Day before 9/11, man.
Another-
I grew up
another
right
fear-
across the bay.
Another
from-
fear ritual.
Yep. Another 9, right? The day before 9/11. All right. It's the biggest faith leader to our faith, well, to the faith that I practice. I'm born again Christian myself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, I like, it's the day before our one of the biggest tragedies on our shores, whether they were like, there's shit. I don't believe shit, that happened. There's a lot of skepticism for all that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
let me not digress. But there's another book I'd like anybody that's listening to read. It's called Night Chills from Dean Koontz from 1977. Before cell phones, before all this stuff took place, there was just like the graphene in the shot. Like, I don't know if people know about, like, the graphene that was in the mRNA shot. They can light that stuff up. Like 5G lights up the graphene in the shot, and they can message over that stuff. People don't know. Like, DARPA has patented this stuff.
I mean, look, we're not even talking about.
It's crazy, dude.
There's been hearings for the past 2 or 3 days about all of that. Not the graphene part, but like the effectiveness of the shots, how they are imposed on the public. It's pretty underreported.
Bananas.
It's
bananas.
And this is like major. I mean, this is major stuff.
Ugh,
we have,
dude. I'm like hot around the collar. Like, this has been such a crazy news day. Like, from the moment I heard everything go off,
it's nuts.
I was like, what? They just, like, really executed Charlie Kirk, man. Like, are you crazy?
I can't believe it.
And it's the fact. I didn't mean to cut you off, Shane.
That's okay.
Like, the fact that at a super duper religious school, right?
Yep.
A bunch, all right, of faith leaders there, all right? They don't have much security. I understand that. Charlie didn't give a shit anyway. So he went out there to do his thing, I get it. Like, the fact that there's bullets flying in our campuses, like, and it's just okay. It's okay. It's not okay.
No.
It's scary, man. I have kids. I have a 17-year-old son. He called me today, like, and we don't really talk politics that much. He called me tonight, man. He's like terrified, man. Like, terrified.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, I said, you got to keep your head on a swivel, man. Like, it's a scary place to have kids. How do we keep our kids safe, man?
It's this world is so deranged. We have to do our best. It's evil. And, but I also am a firm believer in Christ, in the beauty in this world, in grace. And the best we can do is give our kids a really strong foundation with faith, with good knowledge, with confidence, giving them very good observational skills, situational awareness, not making them paranoid, but making them realize that you're going to have to walk through this world balancing the fact that it is as ugly as it is beautiful and massively dangerous.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on, guys. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Follow you all the time, and keep doing what you guys do, man.
Thank you.
Keep bringing the truth out to the world.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the call.
Later, man.
All right, let's do another one. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here with us tonight. Thank you guys for calling in. We're going to try to do our best to get a lot of you. Really appreciate you guys joining us. I like, it was a part of me was like, we should just not do this, but I felt like it would be good to hear from you guys and get a few things off my chest and try to honor Charlie, what he did, you know, a lot of the good he did for the Timcast crew over the years. And there's just no making sense of this kind of thing. No making sense. But we're really glad you guys are here. Let's do another call.
All right, let's bring on Andrew William Campbell.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
We can.
Hey, I don't want to change the tone, but I'm here in Utah, and I was driving home from work tonight, and someone already decorated the bridge over I-15 to UVU with flags in
Wow.
memorial for Charlie.
Wow.
And I think there's going to be a massive effect from this for good that we need to be aware of and hold to. He, as shocking and horrifying as what happened to him is, good people who've pushed back against evil have always been the victims of this, right up to Christ himself.
Yep.
I was a UVU student for the longest time, and I actually left their behavioral science program because it was becoming woke.
Ugh.
And it was a hard thing to do, but I needed to work and concentrate on my family, and I was just amazed that, you know, just 8 years later, you got people like Charlie coming around to universities and saying, hey, you don't need to be here. You can make a good life outside of this.
Absolutely.
Get out of the craziness.
Yep.
Don't sell your soul to a system that will put you in debt.
Yep.
And I want to point out that Charlie's in a place now where he is the type who will lead and intercede for us to Christ. You got to remember that good souls like that, they know what needs to be done, and he's probably praying for us, but he's got the ear of Christ now.
Yeah. Amen.
And I want to also say something about legacy here. I felt inspired as I was coming home. I do a charity thing every Christmas, try to get winter socks for the homeless up in Salt Lake, and I'm starting my my fundraising early for that. I'm going to make it more this year. I'm going to try and follow Charlie's example and do more. And that's really all I wanted to say, is that the memory of good men needs to be amplified, and we should hit the ground running with it, because that's Charlie's type of legacy.
Absolutely. I love it. The memory of good men needs to be amplified. That is great. So true. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing that image of us that you see in Utah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Keep your heart strong.
We will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. I saw the New York Yankees had a moment of silence for Charlie.
Yeah, they did.
Epic. Epic. That's good to see.
I saw that. I have to look into this further, because this is something I saw right as you were walking in, and we kind of got to business like right away. But that they had called for it either on the House floor or something.
Yeah, dude, that's a crazy video.
There was instant just bickering and shit like that, and
Insane.
fighting back, which is just
They're evil.
unbelievable.
It's
like,
insane.
There's never been a time where we couldn't all agree to respect someone, you know, that had been assassinated in public like this.
Just murdered, and that's how they act.
And these are older people, man.
Yep.
Like acting like children. And it's just sad to see that these are the types of people that are running our country.
Sad to see, but man, is it unsurprising.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't use the word surprise anywhere in there, I don't think.
Yep. Nope. This is their MO. These people are insane and demonic, and they hate you, and they will only use a corpse in their favor when it helps their narrative. They have no problem standing on all the corpses of any child to help them push some gun control narrative or, you know, some DEI narrative. But when anything goes against their narrative, it's like a death hasn't even happened. Let's do another call.
All right. We are going to bring on, let's see. Holy shit, there was a lot of people in here.
Yeah, big scrub I see out there. Nepal, right? Nepal's parliament was on fire yesterday.
Yeah.
Like they dragged the dude, they dragged the prime minister into the river, beating him. I think they lit his wife on fire. I mean, the world is in total chaos.
Let's go to April G2G. April, you're on the show. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
I am so nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. It's all good. I felt nervous before going live today. This is a tough one.
Yes, it is. It is. I do want to say I thoroughly enjoyed all of the callers. I can probably speak a little bit on everything they said, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint really what I want to say. I kind of just want to just give my thoughts on a couple things, and it was truly a shock today to hear what happened.
Yeah.
But to be really raw with you guys, I haven't prayed like I prayed today in a very long time. And I just kind of want to give a little background about me. I'll try to be quick. I know there's a lot of callers, but I just know that God has not only blessed me with a very difficult life, I've led a very different life. And I know and you were talking about like different races, and there's a reason why you mentioned the race. So I kind of need to mention my race. I am mixed. My mother is white and my father's black, and living mixed in New York, Syracuse, actually. I talk a lot, so feel free to interrupt me.
No, you're good. You got the floor.
Okay, great. So growing up in Syracuse in an all-white family, actually I grew up in Little Falls first. That's a tiny town. I learned to put on many hats.
Right.
And in an abusive family, I learned to be the peacemaker. I've learned to watch people argue. So I really, when it comes to Charlie, with his debates, this is a spiritual war. And so even with a whole white family, growing up in the system, I could feel and think that white people were racist. I call it a slave mind, where we no longer need chains. We're taught to think, even just for example, I'm in line and somebody else picks the white person next to me. Oh, that person is racist, the deli and all this stuff. So growing up, we are taught. So when I started thinking about politics in my 20s, I was left. Okay. And I didn't study. I just voted what they told me, Democrat. I just checked it all off. And when the Lord started working on my heart, I kind of went from the left to liberal. And how our phone works, I was truly that whole hive mind. I had hate in my heart. I learned to debate. I felt I wanted to debate when someone blocked me. And I hated Trump. If I seen a Trump sticker, that person was racist. But when I started to go to church, when I started to read my Bible, the Lord truly broke those chains. And I started to just ask questions and listen. But then I also was very interested in psychology and how the mind worked. And that's why I wanted to talk mostly was the spiritual aspect of what's going on. And with Charlie being murdered in the way that he did, I feel like a spark has been lit. With all of the debates recently, it seemed like both sides had things to agree on. And the division that happened in 2021, that division was kind of going away. And I feel like now, even with a conversation I just had with a friend, I was like, holy crap, she might be on the left. And I kind of had to show her different videos of Charlie because she's like, I seen it. I wasn't impressed. I was like, wow. And so now, if we can respect his name, that spirit, if you kind of think about the arguments you have with the left with these people, you feel like they say the same thing, they talk the same way, they respond the same way, and it's always with anger. And that's how the news works. It's an emotional thing. When you get angry, when you have the anxiety, your brain does not function. You can no longer hear. I'm looking at a verse right now on my wall, and it says, "Do not be conformed to this world, be transformed." Romans 12:2. We as Christians were separated. We know the difference between joy and happiness. And what Charlie did was he was able to talk to people in which he was able to control that emotion in a way that even if people disagreed with him, they were able to hear him. And when we're able to speak to somebody in a way that that anger and anxiety is gone and the enemy can't use that, they're able to then leave that conversation, and that is in their heart for them to think about it. That's how the enemy works. And if we can honor Charlie when we have that anger right now, we can be angry, but we're to sin not. And that separation is going to be deep in these next couple of days, but it's an opportunity for us to truly walk as Christians like Charlie did and show those people that are trying to take this opportunity to know that we don't fight against flesh, we fight against powers and principalities. And that's what's going to not only try to work against us, but against our loved ones that we have disagreements with. And if we could try to stand and talk to them like Charlie talked to those people every day, thousands of people that hated him, but he was able to break through, that's how we can lift him up and honor his name, is to continue to try to love those people that hate us. Because I used to be one of them, and I'm an example that the Lord can work through people and we can change and we can come to a place that is just of truth. I just watch the political theater, and I'm not on either side. I'm on Christ's side. And I just think that that is something we can truly think about.
That's great. Well said. I appreciate you sharing that. And I agree. You know, it's hard to want to have conversations with people that hate you. And I have had many, you know, and I've had my own family members exile me because I didn't take a shot. Or didn't denounce J6, and then they call me an insurrectionist, like my own family. And I mean, totally insane. But I just learned that I can talk to them. I mean, and I can try, and you don't always change minds, but I try no matter what. But you realize, I'm sure everyone out there has had that experience where you show someone literal video footage, giving them more context. You know, a good example would be the good people on both sides situation. You show them the full context, and some of these people will still be like, nah, don't believe it. I'm like, oh man. I'm praying for them, because I know, I have in my own life seen people move away from that hatred. And I am trying constantly to remind myself about that redemption, and trying to be patient. But yeah, it is tough, and it's with all this violence going on, it's brutal.
It's cognitive dissonance, and I have the craziest story. So my stepfather's also white. He raised me, and he is 68 now, and he was the one where he watched the news, and nothing but the news. And so when I started following Trump and supporting that, he actually told me, he said, "But you're black. You should hate him." And I'm like, "What?" And I said, and when I seen the cognitive dissonance in his eyes, I said, and it was about the Russia. He's like, "What about Russia? What about I said, "What if it is true about Biden? Just let's take everything away." Because he would mock me about God. He would tell me God's a woman. He would, and I don't see him much because he was my abuser. But I said, just what if it's true? And he's like genius level intelligence. So it just blew my mind that the news was able to just hypnotize him in this manner, where it's like, you are intelligent. Can we just think about the facts? And it literally looked like he almost was going to have a stroke, because he couldn't deny truth. And so, but after that, I could just tell he wanted to get me angry. And that's the great thing between joy and happiness. And that's what we can also teach our children, because when things get dark, which they will, the difference is happiness is based on our environment and the things that go around, and that's our feelings and our emotions. And again, we got to go back to Charlie. Some people think he was extreme because his emotions did not fluctuate, but that was because he had a joy within him that his surroundings could not change. And I know by the grace of God, when he was in that moment, although the people that are left behind are going to be hurt, he was joyous. because he was absolutely a man of God. And although we are hurting, he is in the most amazing place, and now he'll be sleeping. We'll join him soon, but until then, we are to share the joy that we have inside, that our environment where that happiness may not change. We're going to fight.
Yep.
And we're going to stand on our testimony and the blood of Christ.
That's it. I really appreciate you calling in and sharing that message.
Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Same to you. Have a good night.
You too.
Brandon, while you get another caller pulled up, I'm going to shout out Furious Penguin. Thank you for the chat. Was this on Rumble, actually? Thank you for tuning in on Rumble. And you said, another innocent man murdered, and the leftist ghouls celebrate and cheer. Demons walk among us. Spiritual warfare is real and intensifying. Be vigilant and stay strong. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well said. Oh my goodness. Let's who we got next? Again, thank you guys so much for showing up, spending some time with us, talking about the constant depravity in this world. Constant. Just hoping, praying we get answers from this.
Trying to keep up with blocking all these damn spammers in chat. Sorry, guys, I'm doing my best here. There's a lot of shit going on tonight.
Yeah, it's wild.
So let's jump into one more call here. Coming up on about 11:30. We still got some time. Let's go to... I'm just going to close my eyes and just let it fall on somebody. Monica. Monica, you're on the show. Can you unmute?
Man, there's so many people sharing crazy videos from this event. Now we're starting to see so many different angles.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out still, even as we're speaking, about the other shooting that happened today, too, as well. Monica, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you.
All right, welcome back to the show.
I'm devastated. Honestly,
It's awful.
I'm
It's awful.
so sad.
Oh, give us your thoughts.
I feel like evil is taking over the world in such a way that even the good people that are trying to speak out against evil, now you just can't even sit in a college campus and speak without getting shot in the neck and bleeding out in front of everyone. Like,
It's so reckless. It's so disgusting and senseless. And the evil has no care for anyone. They sacrifice anyone. And like a lot of callers have said tonight, and I agree with, at the very least, and the president said this tonight, his message will be amplified, and that's, doesn't make up for losing a life and losing what he did and all the stuff he built. But for
he's
sure,
so
it'll
young,
amplify.
his
Oh, he was so young.
children.
I can't stop thinking about his kids. They're so
I
young.
know. That's all I could think about all day is his babies. And he just started a family, and now he's dead. And he's so young. And
Yep.
just because he wanted to talk to people,
Yep.
like, he wasn't, like, trying to hurt anybody. He wasn't doing anything evil. But
Yep.
you just want to speak out, and you want to talk to people, and now somebody just shoots you in the neck, and you bleed out in front of everyone. It's absolutely horrible, Shane. It's so horrible. And I don't know if this world can be saved from this evil.
I think I call it psychotic optimism, because it does feel like you have to be crazy to still have optimism in the face of all this evil. But I kind of have to, I have 3 little ones, and I have to somehow, through all of this, try to instill the idea that we have to remain psychotically optimistic with our goals, with our love, our confidence, our faith, despite all of this darkness that has covered the world. And I see a lot of, I think my grandparents, like I was saying earlier, and, you know, they were in New York City in the 60s and the 70s, surrounded by death, nationally and locally and internationally. And it felt like the world was ending then. And, you know, it feels like that now. And all the things we've gone through and the debates we have with the enemy. The enemy believes in deconstructing everything. They don't believe in any words anymore. They redefine everything. They constantly move the goalposts. But I have to remain hopeful somehow, because we're left here to keep fighting, to keep speaking freely, and just sharing the best we have with the world with what little time we have.
I agree with you. I think that at the end of everything, there's faith and hope and love, right?
Yep.
And so if we lose hope, if we lose faith, then we lost everything, and Satan wins. And so
Yeah.
I want to impart this one message. Just when things like this happen, it's to test your faith. It's to make you question whether or not God is real. How could this happen if God is real? Well, it's Satan wants you to believe that there's no God. He wants you to believe that God is not powerful. And things like this happen, we have to embrace our hope and our faith, and we have to pray and cry and be sad, but we have to understand that God wins. We win.
Yep. In the end, we know how it goes down. And in the meantime, if you have faith, we have a blueprint on how to get through all this human suffering. And we use that as a shield in this psychotic fight we're in. I'm really glad you called in and shared that with us. And
Thank you, Shane.
hope you have
Thank
a
you
great
for
night.
taking
You
the
know,
call.
try to make the most of what we got with the time we have, and just sharing all that love and faith.
I love y'all. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Monica.
Have a good night. Oh man, just insane. I did not expect that. I mean, every time I see it, I'm looking through Twitter to see if there's any updates, and it's just like, it feels fake. It feels unreal. Man.
Yeah. Definitely not a day to be forgotten. This whole week has been crazy getting to this point. Yeah, it's important that we don't jump to rash conclusions. It's important that we don't falsely accuse. It's very important that we keep our heads here with a situation like this.
Did you see that video from MSNBC where the guy said that the shot might have come from one of his audience members?
I've seen speculation that it may have been one of the people who was actually asking the questions. But I mean,
He said, I don't have the exact quote, but it was Matthew Dowd, and that he just got fired for saying it on MSNBC.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was speculating for sure, but like
That's
pretty crazy speculation to make.
That's what I mean. And I mean, speculation is not a thing to do right now. A lot of people are already doing it. I see people in chat speculating.
Yeah. I can't help it, you know, but it just happened, and there's so much, and that's why I was kind of reluctant to share a few things I'm seeing online.
You're playing a dangerous game doing stuff like this, guys.
Yeah, because people will get attached to a narrative quickly, you know, and I have
without so
many
much
theories.
as even investigating a second of it, and dedicate their entire lives to hating everything that they know about it.
Yep, and like I was saying earlier about remaining suspicious of all news, especially the ones that might confirm your biases. There will be bad actors out there. Clearly, it's already happening, where they will show you news to get you angrier, and we just got to remain vigilant. It happens in the aftermath of every tragedy. These psychopaths, like parasites, they sneak in and try to control your brain. Let's take another call, shall we?
All right. Roarcast says, I'm not Christian, but I agree with Charlie about 85.90% of stuff. So sad. He was so young and a great loss to humanity.
Yep.
All right. Guys, the amount of people calling is overwhelming. Thank you guys so much. We only got about another 25 minutes. Again, we are picking at random tonight, so if I don't get to you, don't be pissed at me. It has been a crazy day. We're going to go to Josh Johnson next. I'm kind of bouncing around the list here. Josh, you're on the show. Can you unmute and say what's up?
Yes, gentlemen. Sad to be talking to you under these circumstances.
Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was working all day, and when I got off, I had people from my church emailing me left and right, and first thing I did was run over to my church and start lighting candles.
Yep.
I was going to make 3 points, if you guys don't mind, and the fourth is a conclusion.
Yep. Go for it.
My initial thought was what I've been thinking for a long time is if you want peace, be peaceful. If you want something else, you can get that too. That's just the thing that popped out of my head. I was angry and sad at the same time.
Yep.
There's another truth that people that ask for a fight probably have never been in one before.
That's true.
And 3, the world has always been chaotic. It's just now with the internet, now it's being shoved in our face and our feeds and our algorithms all the time. So we're just constantly berated with it. Yeah,
constantly. It's nonstop, like an assembly line of doom being shoveled into your brain, and it's for all the good it's done. Look how we were kind of able to subvert a lot of the COVID narrative, or the George Floyd narrative, you name it, Rittenhouse, through the internet. On the flip side, with the consequences, it's turned the whole world into a little town, and now everything is like everything has been sucked into this vortex or a black hole, and we see everything all the time, all over the place. So we're feeling every tragedy everywhere, and it's overwhelming and also desensitizing. And there's good and bad things about that. We're able to see more, learn more, but then they're also able to deceive you easier. And we have to just, like I keep saying, remain extremely vigilant with everything, especially the stuff that's going to confirm our bias with anything, even that stuff, because they're right now, the bad people are going to try to use everything against us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's they're poking us in the chest left and right, and they're just waiting for us to, step back towards them and be like, look, I'm a victim. Now they're encroaching on me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, they built up Trump to be this, like, literally Hitler for 10 years, and they're just poking the bear constantly to turn him into the tyrant, to make him the real life caricature they made him out to be. So then, like you're saying, oh, hey, look, we're the victim now. He is as bad as we said. That is one possibility. I'm seeing many in my brain all over the place, just floating by. But I certainly feel that way. I was saying it. We were just saying it on IRL on Monday, I think, that it feels like they're trying to push the right to become this villain that they've been saying the right was this whole time.
Well, when your entire ideology is based on a victim narrative and you don't have a bad guy to fight, you create one.
Right.
And that's what they've been doing for the past 30, 40 years.
Yep. A boogeyman.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the final thing I just wanted to say on that is a lot of people are, the same thing that I experienced when I first heard about it. I got to sit there for 15 minutes in my car in the parking lot at work.
Yeah.
I was pissed off. I was sad. I didn't know I was like, okay, I'm going to church about this one because there's no way. I'm not just going home,
right.
and venting at home. I don't know what the hell I would do. But in that situation, when it comes to Charlie Kirk, a bunch of people are mad. A bunch of people are sad. If you actually want to know how you should act in the situation, listen to what the man said. If you're going to argue, have your points solid, understand what they're going to come at you with. Yep. Every idea they espouse these days, it's nonsense, it's indefensible.
Yeah.
And be prepared to handle yourself in a situation. And I just want to say, like, the anagogics of it is perfect and horrible. They had to hit Charlie Kirk in his throat because his voice changed an entire generation in this country.
Oh, wow. That's a
So-
horrifying, nightmarish image. But yeah, very symbolic.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, thanks for calling in on this dark night. Thank you very, very much.
Hey, stay safe out there, guys.
Thanks, man. You too. All right. I don't know how it's 11:40 already. Wild. I can't thank you guys enough for being here and just venting with us. Who knows what tomorrow will bring?
Cryptonimus thinks it is time to enact the Communist Control Act.
The Marxists, man. I was going to say that. We were talking about colleges. The Marxists took over the colleges. And we saw the weather underground in what was that, the 60s, 70s? Domestic terrorists, Marxists, build bombs, killed some people, killed themselves as well. Some became fugitives. And, I mean, these are just despicable people. They were eventually caught, went to jail, and Bill Clinton pardons one on his last day in office. Cuomo pardoned one. Many have been out, and what did they do when they got out? They became professors. They wrote books. And that is, in my mind, just another layer to how the Marxists took over the college system. It dates back further in different ways with different people subverting the institutions. But I can't help but think about the Weather Underground and what they've done and how so many on the left have championed them and how presidents and governors have pardoned them. Some of them, one of them killed, I think it was a cop or two near my old hometown. I grew up near West Point in Highland Falls, but about 30 minutes away is Nanuet, and that's where one of the Weather Underground situations went down. And on Cuomo's last day in office, he pardoned one of those people. Just insane. Totally insane. Straight up terrorists. And they are teaching your kids. But let's do it. Who else we got? Is there a lot of people waiting?
Yeah, we're going to go to Andrew Warden next.
All right.
Andrew, welcome to the show. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hello there. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Of course. What's going on?
Well, I wanted to take my condolences to you guys.
Thank you.
You guys actually knew Charlie. I didn't. I just followed him along a little bit. I think he's, for my lifetime, I was quite young when MLK was shot and then Robert Kennedy being shot. He's going to be right alongside those two for people in politics that maybe or may not be completely in politics at the time being shot and assassinated. That's going to carry on that kind of legacy for your generation and younger, I see.
Oh yeah, I agree. You know, it's so insane to think. This is what my wife and I were talking about. She and I had been to the TPUSA events with the Timcast crew a few times and got to stand with him backstage and just watch how, you know, this guy built this whole thing. And I mean, those events they're big. They're wild.
Kellen's actually been telling me about them for a few weeks prior.
Oh, wow.
Up until this point, was talking about how he was excited for me to get out there and go see what one of them was like.
It's epic.
Dude, you got to go to the next one. It's amazing.
It's epic.
They wouldn't shut up about how hospitable Charlie was.
I mean,
to everybody.
It was great. They would set up, like they had a big stage. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen those events, but they had this big stage there, and they just set up an IRL studio on the stage for one night, and it was crazy. It was crazy. I think Tucker was on one, and the year before that, Bannon. It was wild. Really, a good crowd. The audience is so engaged. It was the first time I had just started thinking about my faith and crazy things were happening in my life and career. We went out there, and it's the first time I was like noticed in public, and it was a group of people who prayed over me, and it was like the best feeling. It was just nice, very, very nice, and it was amazing out there. And then just to stand around in the backstage and see it all go down in this crowd and what they've done, all these different people coming through. You know, I've been listening to Bannon for quite some time, so it was crazy just to see all this in one place. But I think you're right about, you know, he's going to go down like these other political assassinations, and it's just totally absurd to think that that is the reality that we have now.
Well, you have to look at how America is now. I mean, back when those other two assassinations happened, we were like 60 some odd percent Christian. Now I think we're like less than 40% for people actually follow what the scriptures say.
Right.
So you're going to have that. I mean, you look at our politicians. You got Tim McBride, for instance, from Delaware. He goes by Sarah now, but that's the mentally ill man.
Yep.
That is there controlling. He's part of what controls and sets the rules and regulations for the rest of us.
Yep.
And spends the money for us. So that is where we are as a nation currently, and eventually you're going to have someone like she supposedly said the other day to Putin that, hey, we should be able to live to 170 years. This is a paraphrase.
Yep.
Because we got all kinds of different body parts that we put in.
I saw. He said 70 is like a baby.
Right, and that 170 is what we should be living to.
And like that's wild.
So the years of Pharaoh may be bad because you got, well, one of my favorite politicians, I like to paraphrase him. He called himself, that was Benjamin Rush, and he said that he was called, paraphrasing, a Democrat. He was called by some people a Democrat and some people a Republican. He said he's neither. He's a aristocrat. I agree with him on that.
Yeah.
And the people of the generation right now need to repent from our ways, turn to the scriptures, and follow Christ. If we don't, we're going to go down more and more terrible things that will be happening. It's up to us if we're going to allow God to heal our land or not. It took the Israelis, when they left Egypt 40 years ago around the mountain and wandering around in the desert, which is only a 10-day walk.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To finally give up their selfish ways and follow him. And you guys were talking about Congress again. You know, you said they're acting like children. That's true, because there's a lot of people that never grew up, just grew old.
Good point. So true. Look, it's a bunch of babies. Well, I appreciate you calling and sharing that with us, man.
Well, I hope you tell everyone there that I'm thinking of them. I am sorry that you guys had the loss of Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry that our nation has the loss of him.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys were friends with him. I didn't know the man. I never went to one of his things that he had. But I was so glad for people that are younger than me that's going to that. And he was pushing everyone. He wasn't pushing. He was teaching everyone to go in the right direction. And hopefully someone picks up the mantle and starts doing that. And hopefully there's not another instance like this And the next thing that's on the docket, Pocahontas was pushing for it today, was to take our guns away. And
people are
the
evil.
way I read and study and so on, the Second Amendment was put in for us to have the same weaponry that our Department of War has. The exact same.
I agree.
Doesn't matter what it is. If you wanted an M16, you should have one.
I'm with you, dude. More guns to all the people. I think will make a safer place than taking everything away. It's ridiculous. They're insane.
If you wanted a tank in your front yard, that's your business. That's the way I said.
Yep. True that. All right. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
And unfortunately, I live in the communist state of the People's Republic of Michigan. And a lot of people here still believe that Gretchen Whitmore was telling the truth about being kidnapped.
That whole story is diabolical. Diabolical.
Yeah. And a lot of people still believe it because they watch the mainstream media and don't research themselves and don't listen to the people and what they're actually saying in context. Instead, they go by whatever's been clipped.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have a great night. I'm sorry that today happened and you lost a good friend.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Have a good night, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. I'm looking at my phone. It was on April 28th that I helped book Tim on Charlie's show. And the topics were, it was a White House Correspondents' Dinner, and how everyone in the left was all of a sudden agreeing that Biden might not have been with full mental capacity.
Oh, shit.
Like, it's like a different universe, April 28th. That's not that long ago, but totally different universe. Goodness gracious. I had a few chats I wanted to get to. Let's see. Renee, thank you for that. Thank you for being here, she says, tonight, Brandon and Shane, praying for Erica and their babies. Condolences to everyone who knew him. Brandon, you're doing good despite all the extra traffic tonight. It's a heavy day. Yeah, my goodness. Terminator Man, I see. Thanks for the chat. Hey, Shane, did you see Hotep Jesus' take on Charlie saying it was good this happened to him because of his take on black on white crime? I did not see that. I love the Hoteps. Done many of their functions. Always a good time. Did not see that. I've tried to just not look at takes. I'm having a hard time. I'm like, want to see if there's updates, but I also don't want to see.
I have not been looking at my phone for like the last 30 minutes. I've just
every time I open it, it's Charlie dying. Like I hate having to see this.
Yeah.
Yesterday, every time I opened it, it was Irina dying, both horrifically. It's just awful.
No, and I can't imagine what his family's going through with this.
So I didn't see what he said. I hope he's not saying that, but at some point I'm sure it'll come across my feed. But let's try to take one more. It's somehow almost midnight, and this it was a fast episode. I really thank you guys for joining us tonight. I'm sorry we're not getting to everyone, but we will be back tomorrow night, and we're happy to take all your calls, anyone that we missed, and we're back here at 10 o'clock tomorrow night Eastern time. It's tomorrow Thursday already?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's our last episode of the week till we return on Monday. So for those we didn't get to, please do call back, and Brandon's going to pick another one at random.
Oh, let's go to Draftman. That's who my mouse cursor fell on. Guys almost had me rolling 20-sided die tonight to figure out who the hell to bring on the show. Draftman, you're on the program. Can you unmute your mic and say what's up? I worry some of these people might have passed out by now on their desks waiting to get in here.
Right. I'm seeing my friend post pictures on Instagram of that crazy day that Candace, Charlie, and Kanye hung out. Oh, man. That was wild. That was wild.
Jeff, man, can you hear us?
Hello.
It's not looking
Hello.
good.
All right, let's get to the other one. Let's try another
let's
one.
bring
Then.
someone else on here. Apologies, dude. We are short on time. Let's go to Benjamin. Benjamin, you're on the show.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hey, can you mute the feed in the background, please?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Welcome to the
There,
show.
I just did.
Cool, thank you.
You're welcome.
What's on your mind tonight?
Just and I kind of something that you had said earlier. I think that part of this is spiritual warfare. I think maybe to a greater extent than people who are even saying it is because. Well, I'll just give one example. Several years ago, I was working managing a store, and I had to basically I was working 16-hour days, 7 days a week. I wasn't making it to church or anything, but I had on filling up my gas one night at a gas station. These little wood crosses of olive wood from Israel. I buy one, and one of the customers who happened to walk in my store, it was a suit store, was a priest. I asked him to bless the cross for me since I couldn't make it to Mass. And he didn't do the normal, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. He did this blessing that was in several different languages.
Huh. Wow.
And it took him like 15 minutes. And later on, years later, I found out that it sounds like he maybe even did an exorcism blessing on it.
Wow.
Which is interesting because, after I got a job somewhere else and I wasn't working those hours, I went into this, it was this restaurant that used to be, in the city I lived in, and they had during the day, it was like a pub.
Yep.
But at night on the weekends, they had a area that they'd move all the tables out of and kind of turn it to a dance floor for a quote club, I guess. But so it's taken them forever. I'm on my way home from work. I stopped to get dinner. And for whatever reason, it's taken forever to get the food out. They're setting up for the club. I mean, I was moved to a corner so I couldn't eat well. But as I'm leaving, girl starts walking up to me, which is weird on its own. I'm no Adonis, to say the least. But as she starts to push me up her arms, she also just freezes, steps, and says, "You're wearing a cross, a blessed cross," which even didn't click right there. That blessed, but I think, okay, yeah, she sees the cross. If she doesn't like that idea of me wearing a cross, then why would I even be interested? But because she asked me to take it off and put it in my car, I'm like, no. But then I realized it had fallen inside of my shirt. You couldn't see it. When she started walking up to me, it occurred to me, that she stopped like she hit a wall all of a sudden. And then they had the Nefarious movie come out like a couple of years ago, and I saw that, and I wanted to do a little bit of reading on it before I went to see it, and saw a priest who they use as a consultant for it, and he starts talking about spiritual warfare, demonic possession, everything, and it really hit me then. It's like, oh, wow, this is a lot more, I guess, real.
Yeah.
Than I can realize. It was like so creepy, and it's you think about it. And I'm sorry, and I don't mean to go too long, but in the Bible, Jesus goes to cast out the demon, and Jesus approaches this man and says, "Why do you come to torment us?"
Yep.
Now think about the whole trans thing. What we, us,
they, them.
Yes, they, them.
Yep.
And it's like, wait a minute here. And a lot of people say, well, yeah, they don't even act like themselves anymore. Huh.
It's insane.
Interesting.
Yep.
Yes. And I think that's really what it is. And Charlie Kirk was very religious. He would even talk about Jesus and share the gospel thing.
Mm-hmm.
Demons don't like that.
No. Nope. They recoil from it. They want to attack it.
Yep,
It makes them
so
sick, and
if
it makes them want to destroy it.
Yeah, so if here's Charlie Kirk, you know, convincing people to become Christians, well, the devil doesn't like that, so they want to take him out.
It's true.
Look at the guy who killed that Ukrainian girl on the train, mumbling to himself.
I know.
I mean,
Yep.
it's like I said, it's now, you know, once again, if you haven't seen Nefarious or anyone hasn't, I recommend seeing it. I heard priests were recommending it. And then watch interviews on it. It really opens your eyes. One of the, it wasn't involved in the movie, but one of the exorcists who YouTube started recommending to hear was interesting because he used to live a very, I can't remember his name, but he was on the New York, like, I have some stock routine, but money. He like very high end earner.
Right.
And, you know, he became a Christian. He didn't start feeling about his life. And he talked about, you know, it was a pretty immoral life I lived and everything else. And, his story on how he became an exorcist. And I'm going to watch, like I said,
I haven't seen it, so I want to watch it. It seems, you know, I have to wait.
Oh yeah, and this wasn't for that movie. This is just one the exorcist came up as. I think his name was Dan.
Okay.
Dan something. I think his name is.
Okay.
It just YouTube recommended him because I watched some of the interviews. So he had nothing to do with the movie, but he says, oh yeah, I think he says a story where he met the devil when he became a priest. He said on the street when he was getting ready, he says a guy walks up to me, he runs into the guy years later somewhere else, and just knows stuff. So like I said, this stuff does happen, and I think that's what this is all about now. I think we're in the end times.
It certainly feels like it. I mean, it's so much death and destruction, and there is also, thank God, there's a lot of people turning to religion, giving their lives up for Christ. It's been like a revival, honestly, and I think a lot of that is happening because we are seeing so much darkness. That was my case. You're like, if this kind of evil exists and it's like profound evil that is tangible, I am looking at it, then there's got to be the opposite of a good, you know, capital G good. And that was my case. And there's so many people like that now. So it's one of the, like, it's a consequence, like a weird consequence of these tragedies is we lose these people. It's so devastating. And then there are these people who see it and they find faith, and that is a thing that we can champion and just get more people into the light, you know, and save them from this insane darkness we're in.
Yes. I think we all need to share the gospel more.
That's it.
It's scary to do it at first because, you know, you're like, what if I think what if I screw up? And it's, I mean, when you start doing it, how you're led.
Yep.
How you're led what to say.
We're all learning as we go. You know, I'm still learning, and I talk to lots of different people. I read the Bible as much as I can. I like going to church, and it's changed me in infinite, wonderful ways, and given me a new confidence throughout this landscape of human suffering. But hey, man, we appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Of course.
God bless you both.
Same to you, man. God bless you.
Have a good night.
Well, it is somehow 12:04, and we'll be back tomorrow. I'm very sorry. I'm assuming there's a lot of people we didn't get to.
Yeah.
Apologies we did not get to you, but I feel like we got to more than we usually do. We were moving, but I would love to stay and do more, but I want to go home and just hold my kids, and that's that. But I'm extremely grateful for everyone who joined us and everyone who called in. But Brandon, where can they find you, dude? Let them know. Hit you up. Tell Brandon online how awesome of a job he's been doing the show.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, like
appreciate that.
It's been a wild few months of this show. We've had some crazy shows
so far, yeah, and I feel like the crazy is yet to come. That's the crazy part.
I agree. I know.
So more crazy on the way, more weird.
It's wild, but thank you for steering the ship tonight, dude.
Oh, absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure being here with all of you guys. Thank you for being here with us. You can find me on Instagram and on X at Brando Inverted. Flood the internet with love for the Kirk family. Keep them in your thoughts. If you are religious and you do pray for these people. And we're gonna try to keep moving on as a people through shit like this when this happens. And hope that it doesn't happen more. That's really all that we can do. And just keep your eyes open. You know, like we don't want to go around telling everybody be safe or anything like that, but do that. You know, because this is the reality that we're living in, is the things that we've seen in the last week and beyond. So keep your heads on a swivel. Don't forget to stay weird. We love you guys all. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you tomorrow. Shane, get us out of here.
Thank you guys again so much for joining us, and thank you for all the calls, for the chats. It was a pleasure to get to talk to everyone. Do not become what you hate. Stay strong out there. Remember to remain vigilant in every possible way, in the physical world and in the digital world. Remain suspicious of any news that's trying to manipulate you, because it's going to happen a lot, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of it tomorrow. I encourage you all to pray. I encourage you all to pray for Charlie and his family. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. God bless you all. Have a good night.